There is a business for this preventative step, Green Clean Technologies. And I want you to reach out to Zaniac Will at 989-560-7272. Thank you, Green Clean Technologies. They also sponsor the email, the Green Clean Technologies inbox, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Also, it is, hold on, this camera's driving me crazy because it's a little too, hold on. Now it's good. It was a little too jacked. And I'm sitting there looking at him going, I know there's something wrong with that. And I was right, of course. The Kent County Health Department also bringing you the live stream. They are open for business, when I say business, to serve the public on the 15th of June. So all of the things that that you can utilize with the Kent County Health Department, it could be testing for sexually transmitted infections. Did you know that they call them STIs now as opposed to STD? Somebody with a big brain said, we got to change the nomenclature. All right, if you say so. Not to mention all the other services that the Kent County Health Department provides for the public. They now have four testing sites to see if you are COVID-19 positive. If you need more information, just reach out to the Kent County Health Department. The WIC program still in full effect, as it always is. They had a skeleton crew making sure that people were getting their access to WIC during the pandemic. That is actually, still going on. Nothing's really changed that much. 616-632-7200 for the Kent County Health Department. 2 sponsors down. We got a few more to go. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. It is the 9th of June, 2020. Here we go.
And now, here's a guy who got tired of being fired by corporate radio. So he took up being fired by Patreon subscribers instead.
Shut up.
It's the Eric Zane Show podcast.
Thank you, Johnny. Welcome into another rip-roaring edition of the Eric Zane Show podcast. This is a daily podcast, Monday through Friday at about this same time, Eastern Time, 8 a.m., where we do this show. It is a rant-filled, it's an expletive-filled, rant-filled show covering news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. We cover it all. A mix of all of these things. No real time limit. Lately, it's been going about 2 hours, which is just sickening. I can't believe we've gotten to a point where the show goes on that long. As usual, I've forgotten something before I got started, which means I'm screwed, and that is, did not get my cup of water. So don't reach out to Diana, because I know some of you are like, hey, yeah, I better. It's such a homespun podcast that the audience members, if I need something, if I talk about it here, like on this live podcast, people will reach out to her and say, hey, Eric's complaining that he needs this. Go help him. It's okay. Don't even bother. Just leave it alone, because what my biggest fear is people opening up that door when I'm doing a podcast. That is like instantly I'm freaked out when someone does that. But all right, as we get started, we got a number of things to talk about, and I was a little bit concerned because I was at about the time that I lay down to go nighty-night the night before, I typically have a few things that, I'm actually excited to talk about this, and this. Well, yesterday was one of those days where there wasn't a damn thing that was catching my eye. Or, I don't know, maybe I was tired and I thought I'm not going to be able to establish a point of view on whatever, so nothing was working. So I'm like, shit, what is going? That's a bad feeling. When you know that you're getting ready to go to bed, and when you wake up, you've got a rather finite amount of time for the rubber to meet the road and put some shit out. So, oh boy. But a couple of things did happen. First of all, CrossFit, more like cross shit, okay? I guess there's a guy who like invented CrossFit. He's like Joe CrossFit or something like that. He's the guy. And if you have a CrossFit gym, or I think it's called a box, it's all. I have done CrossFit for a period of time, and there's all sorts of different pieces of terminology that they utilize. The guy who came up with it, he then was smart enough to market it as, you know, you now have, it's like a cult, you know. There's like Mr. CrossFit, the one dude who's in charge of the whole damn thing. Well, he's in a shitstorm of trouble, and that's a little weird because the amount of attacking he's getting is, I mean, I am apt to jump all over people's shit on a lot of things, but in this day and age, if you are in any business, after the two gigantic stories that have happened, most recently George Floyd, I kind of understand, but at the same time, I kind of don't understand the idea that if you don't speak out in support of George Floyd or speak out against police brutality, if you choose to just be quiet, you're labeled a racist. So does that mean that if anybody just decides that they just would rather, you know, they're not really that type of personality to speak out about type of thing, that they're a racist? Well, that's the case here. And he said something that was a little callous, but I'm having a hard time understanding the label of racist on Mr. CrossFit. I'll explain more when we talk about it. There's a new study about human behavior dealing with the coronavirus, which shows how stupid some people really are. This is sickening. It actually made me sad. There's a new list, a list that went around yesterday covering each state's favorite food chain that pissed everybody off. So you see a map of the 48 and then Hawaii and Alaska, and there's a logo to a, now I guess I shouldn't say, it's not all fast food, but a favorite food chain like Olive Garden or Denny's on each state. And it pissed everybody off. So there's that, and I need to discuss what's going on there. It's not what it seems. And what is it going to take to get rid of racist statues? All right? I have that, and also a story about from my old stomping ground when I was a kid, a community called Romeo, Michigan, which is actually the home of Kid Rock. That's right. I used to be such a big fan of Kid Rock. I kind of moved away from that. I'm just not that into it as much as I used to be, which is a shock to some of you because I actually wanted to be Kid Rock for a period of time. Anyway, in Romeo, all right, there's a big giant rock that is called Romeo Rock, and people paint messages on it all the time. Well, boy, it's turned into a bit of a racist thing, but I think there's a glimmer of hope to it all. But first, excuse me, on the open, got a couple things to get to, and one of them is my report card from 5th grade, and this is really, I'll talk about this in a second, and it's really weird how it came to light, this ancient document, this 40-year-old document in front of me, which when I read it to you, we'll go, yeah, that sounds about right. Diet bet struggles. I woke up this morning, got yourself a gun, da-da-da-da, Sopranos theme song, and I just love that song. Oh, it's great. I was starving, and I don't ever wake up starving because, you know, for the most part, I have been eating mostly a protein-based diet and avoiding the carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates, sugars, and that's been going great. It just makes me feel good. I'm stronger. I'm lighter. I'm faster. I went running yesterday, and I had to do 1 mile repeats, which means you warm up for a mile nice and easy, and then as mile 2 starts, you just step on the gas, man. Now, I'm not as fast as I used to be, but my lungs and heart were at near max, just below it. Probably about 5 to 10 beats below my max. I was at my lactate threshold. So I'm doing this workout. Joe Moore will understand this. I'm doing it at threshold, so you're breathing. You can probably only maintain that for about 10, 15 minutes. It's about a little bit slower than probably about 10K pace. So a little longer than 15 minutes, maybe a little faster than 10K pace. You're all like, Zane, this is fucking stupid. Stop talking like this. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I'm sorry. I'm killing it, though. I can just feel. I'm lighter. I'm faster. I'm like, yes, I'm getting it back. I'm going to be 50 before you know it. I'm going to be sub 7 on the miles. Yes, sweet. Yes, I'm coming back, man. And as I walked in the door, it dawned on me from the workout that Diana and Jacqueline and Justin went to Sakura to put in, because they put in a big sushi order. We felt like we wanted to, it was the first day back for restaurants, but it turns out Sakura is not even taking customers. They're still doing curbside because they're one of those businesses that's like, we're not going to open just yet for whatever reason. So what we did, went to the website. I said, oh, man. All right, California roll, tempura California. This is what you do. You go to this place, and this is what you order online. You got to order the volcano roll, which is a bit spicy. Volcano, Vegas roll, which has a cream cheese in it. Fusion roll and dragon roll. 6, count them, 6 rolls. That's a lot of food. I come walking in from the workout, sweating like a pig, jump in the shower, cool down. Right after that, here comes the sushi. Yes. And I go, all right, all dieting out the window. This is just how it's going to be. I'll figure it out somewhere down the road. Diet bet be damned. And just boom, boom, boom. Don't stop. Did you know that it's an insult if you take a piece of sushi? First of all, don't eat it with a fork. Don't eat it with your hands. Use the freaking chopsticks, okay? Excuse me. If you don't take the whole roll and put it in your mouth and eat it, apparently it's an insult. You're not supposed to bite it like a cookie. You're supposed to go, the whole thing goes in there. So, destroying the sushi. My gosh, I haven't eaten anything out of the house other than home-cooked food since the pandemic started, I think. I can't remember if I've had any takeout. So, yeah, awesome. Outside of pizza. But that pretty much shoots a diet bet, and what it does is it kind of takes you a little bit closer, or it swings that meter of ketosis. Your body is like, oh, boy, we've been working hard to burn your fat because you won't give us any carbohydrate, you dick. So all of a sudden, they're like, oh, thank God, he's letting up. Oh, he's going back to fat. So we don't have to work so hard to get the energy for his dumb brain. Let's go and burn all these carbs. So your body does that, and then right after that, I'm famished. So right now, I'm just starving. Shit. Oh, the discomfort is just, I can feel it right here. I just want to go and just murder a couple bowls of Reese's Puffs and then maybe follow it up with some frosted shredded wheat or frosted mini wheats. But no, I got to get back on the wagon quickly and strongly, and that is that. And I don't know how this next thing happened, but when I got in from the workout, I'm walking in, and why on the floor of my garage this would be here, I don't know. There is a little box of somewhere in my house, I don't know where, that has like keepsakes from when I was a kid. You know, maybe something I did in Cub Scouts, or my mother gave it to me. Every parent does this at some point in their life. They like, here's your shit from when you were a kid. Now, truth be told, I don't know if I'm going to have that for my kids. But I'm kind of glad that my mother did this, because I actually remember the day that I got this report card. It was the first marking period for 5th grade for Eric Zane. My real last name, as you all know, is Zaitunian, so Eric Zaitunian. I went to Wilkerson Elementary. It's still there to this day. I sometimes, when I visit my mother's or my old neighborhood, I don't know if you ever do this, but if I go to Warren, which is where I grew up, and visit my mother now, where she lives, it's probably like 3 miles from the house that I grew up in. Man, one of my favorite things to do is to go and drive up and down the streets of that old neighborhood. Excuse me. It really takes me back, and oh my God, I get excited just thinking about that. I just love doing that. I just realized I never did start recording the podcast, so I'll have to dub over the first part from the Facebook video in order to actually be able to post the podcast. In fact, hang on a second here. That's a first. Hold on. Check. Video, audio, good. All right, where was I? So, and then in fact, I'll actually drive over to the school. This school that I was going to, that this happened in, and look in the windows. I've talked about this recently on the podcast, and I'll look in there, and the hallways look like they've shrunk, and then it dawns on me, no, you were just little when you walked through these halls. And so, I mean, it's really incredible to see that. It's like a time capsule, you know. I'm all about looking at this. That's if you notice with me, a lot of the nostalgia is always around me and my youth, and that's part of the reason why I love going up north so much to the Fear Bunker, is because, I mean, I'll be 50 in less than a month, and I've been going there since I was 5 weeks old. So I mean, it's just all kind of works, you know. Are you like me at all in any way like that? But maybe not. So, yeah, I was looking into the window of the school, and then I dawned on me that over the years they've made improvements to the school, and there's cameras everywhere. And so it dawns on me that there's probably some guy who's looking at a tape or a live video of some weirdo staring in the school. Like, oh, we got a bogey staring into the school. It's another weirdo. He's probably going to pull out his crank and pound his putt any second, or perhaps we have a future school shooter. We're going to keep an eye out for this guy. It's probably like my face on the wall. Kids, don't talk to this guy, this goblin-looking man. So that's where this is from. 1980-81 school year. 5th grade, Wilkerson Elementary. The teacher's name was Mr. Palo. P-A-L-O. I wonder if Palo is still around to this day. I'm guessing he was in his mid-30s, maybe late 30s. I remember he had a hot-ass wife. Dick, I think his name was Dick. Was it Dick Palo? Richard Palo? I think he went on to become a principal in the school district. This guy was a dick. I hated this guy. Oh, my God, I could not stand dealing with this dude. He was such a pain in the ass. Now, truth be told, I say that now, but if I had a video of my behavior back then and then saw what he had to deal with, I might understand a little bit more. So I think I was a pretty big dick. In fact, I remember this was the teacher where there was a moment where, and I've mentioned this before, when I figured out that if you took the erasers and with chalk all over them, you know, I don't even know if they used chalkboards actually in school. I think they used like dry erase boards. But so the chalk dust was all on the erasers, and I figured out that there was 2 or 3 kids in the class. They were all girls. I remember Heather Essenmacher, I forget, Grahowski, I don't know, some Polish chick, and Jenny Markuzik, who were all the sweetest young ladies ever. And I figured out that if you banged the erasers in their face, they would get very distraught. And the reason why they'd get so upset and tell me not to do it was because they had asthma or something like that. And so I was like, oh, well, you might as well just say, Eric, please bang those in my face more because you're such a stupid shit. So I would take the erasers and just bang them in her face and in their faces and blow the dust in their face. Like, oh, God. And the kids start coughing, and I'm like, ah. Well, Palo flips, and he's pissed off. So, maybe he wasn't such a dick. Maybe the guy was actually a great teacher. And he would flip your desk. This is back in the day when you could get away with this shit. He would take my desk and actually, there were freestanding desks, and you open the lid and your shit's inside of there. He took it. He goes, out, and he would want me out of the class, and he'd lift the desk and throw it out into the media center, which was the library, and it would land, and my desk was all fucked up, and the hinges were busted because he's constantly physically throwing the desk out, and the books go flying. You clean it up. Stay out there. Oh my God, the shit I put that man through. He probably, I wonder if because if you're a teacher, if this guy's still alive, if there's any way, if you said a name to him of a problem student, would he remember? Could I have caused enough trauma in this man's life that 40 years later, for 9 months, when I was his student, that it was burned in his brain, the name? Like, there's no way a teacher could remember names, but maybe not, maybe. And so I wonder if this guy is still alive. If you said, hey, do you recall a name of a student named this? And then if he goes, oh, yeah, oh, my God, one of the top 5, top 3 all-time worst kids I've ever known. That might be me. Why the hell this was on the floor of my garage is still a mystery. I don't know if somebody went through that box of keepsakes and artifacts from when I was a kid. I haven't interviewed all the possible suspects in this home as to why this would be out, but as you can see, I have the document right in front of me. It's an old thing, and so this was at a time when they graded it. All they would do is in 5th grade they would give you an S minus, or an N. S is satisfactory. You want all S's. If you get an S minus here and there, no big deal, not the end of the world. It's still satisfactory with maybe need a little work. If you get an N, that's a problem. You don't want the N-word. Say no to the N-word. Do not use the N-word if you're reading your report card. Well, I had all sorts of N-words on this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 N-words. Yeah, that's a lot. If you have like 2 or 3, that's enough to get you in trouble with your parents. But if you have 6 N-words, which means needs improvement, it isn't anything nasty. You have trouble. This is a miracle because I didn't do shit back then. This was at a time, 1980, 81. I am now a latchkey kid. I'm getting myself off to school because my brother is in 9th grade and I'm in 5th grade. So he leaves before me. I have to leave myself, shut the door behind me. It's locked. We have a key hidden outside. My mom is at work at that point, and then that's the way I would get myself off to school. I come home. Mom's still not home. Pain in the ass. My brother Jim has to make dinner for the family. That's the way we lived. Seemed to work, but it was a little bit of a struggle. All right. I didn't lift one finger to ever get my homework done. So I don't know how this could be a thing. In mathematics, I got all S's. Actually, 3 of them were S minuses. Knows basic facts, S minus. Understands basic processes. That's a miracle. S. Works well in solving problems, S minus. Oh boy. Reasons well in problem solving, S minus. Now, when I went to college, I actually did do pretty well in mathematics, but it was only because I paid for the class, and that's when I started to apply myself. I don't think I applied myself in school from kindergarten to when I started to pay for college. All those years leading up to that, I hated school. I didn't try. I didn't do the homework. I cheated. I did everything I could to get by at the bare minimum. I don't ever remember being satisfied with anything in school of my performance other than Mrs. McCormick's speech class and the radio program in high school. Other than that, no care in the world. Language expresses ideas orally and in writing. S-. Uses good listening skills. S-. I am flat out amazed that I did that well. Reading. Grade level 5. Identifies new words independently. S. I got a big fat N for understands what he reads. That sounds absolutely like me. Have you ever opened up a book and then you realized after about 10 minutes that you've been reading the same sentence over and over again? I'm that guy. Now, I don't know if that has to do with the adult ADHD diagnosis that I earned, that I am proud of. Never forget it. He goes, Eric, you have it. Very, very bad. This is a horrible case. It's a very involved case of ADHD. He didn't say horrible. Very involved case of ADHD. You fit all the profiles of this. It's pretty classic. What do I do? He goes, nothing. I go, what do you mean? Aren't you supposed to like get medicine and you're like somebody, you go to a therapist for the rest of your life? He goes, no. You're 50 years old. You've adapted. Somehow, despite all of this, you've managed to be very productive, which is a miracle. So just keep doing what you're doing and go with it. So, all right, sounds good. Let's see. This is crazy. I got a S for reads for pleasure. All right. Big fat N, working up to his capacity. And that's kind of like a little bit of a compliment. Like they knew, Mr. Palo knew that I had more gas in the tank, but I'm just wasn't interested. School was a little boring to me. God, did I hate that do that work. It was terrible. Science and health. This actually is, I take it back. I did have a real interest in this and still do to this day. All S's. Demonstrates an understanding of concepts. Shows growth and process skills. Practices good health and safety. I don't know about that. Today. Social studies. All S's. Yeah, this is crazy because I am super interested in science and health. And as you know, social studies is, I'm constantly talking about social things and commentary on things in the world, current events, all the time on here. So this all kind of makes sense. Shows growth in knowledge of concepts. All S's here. Shows interest and appreciation of other people. S. Wait a minute. I mean, maybe interest, but I don't know about appreciation nowadays. Developing map and reference study skills. I guess they taught that there. Developing the ability to apply knowledge to new situations. S. All right, great. Spelling. Spells words correctly and knows the basic list. Yes, satisfactory. Spells written work correctly. Nope. Writing. Uses care in written work. This will be no surprise. Writes legibly. To this day, it looks like I write with the wrong hand. It's so bad. It always has been. And I've passed that along to Madison, by the way. It looks like she's writing. She's like one of those people who wedges a pencil between her toes because she has no arms or something and manages to write, she's using her hands. Attitudes and habits. This will be interesting. This isn't a shock. Works and plays well with others. S. Well, it's been all downhill from there because I know I don't. And I am very proud of that. I would work well and play well with others if everyone wasn't so fucking stupid. Oh, another miracle. S, again, I think I was at my peak in 5th grade with an S in works well and plays well with others. An S-, which is still pretty good, is courteous and considerate. What? S, recognizes rights and property of others. Yeah, I might recognize it, but then I'll probably wipe my ass with it too at some point. A big fat N word. Uses time effectively. Not satisfactory. Takes care of personal things. S. I wish that were true now. Accepts responsibility. S. Yeah, I do that now. Right? I think. Oh, boy. This is something that I get an N for now. And I got an S for then. Accepts criticism. Nope. I don't want to hear it. I don't want it. Keep it to yourself. Shut up. I guess sometimes I do if it's the right person. But, I mean, just as evidence yesterday, I don't know. I hate it. I don't want it. Keep it away. Keep it to yourself. Follows directions carefully. S minus. Back to the whether or not it's legible. I got a big fat N for does work neatly. An S. Participate. I got an S for participates in group activity. Ooh, yuck. There's nothing there's nothing that I dislike more than working in a group setting, especially the way it's been lately for me. Let's see. Superintendent is Arthur Woodhouse. He's no doubt dead. I wonder, typically they would write comments here in this thing, and there were none written. I've got more of these. I got to go and dig up some more, and I needed to find out why would this be laying on the floor of my garage? Unbelievable. Oh, I just wanted to share that. It's amazing. Find something laying on the floor of the garage, take it to the podcast, all good. The Open of the Eric Zane Show podcast, brought to you by several great sponsors. But before I get to that, remember I've got T-shirts available. They are at ericzaneshow.com. Go to my website, pick out a T-shirt, buy that damn thing. Several different styles, show logos, different colors. You know, I should maybe have it. I always talk about T-shirts that I should make, and then I always forget about it. So until I make the next one, I better not brainstorm my ideas. All right. T-shirts, different sizes, long sleeve, short sleeve, ladies styles, tanks, got hoodies, hats. They're all there. ericzaneshow.com. Please get one. It helps keep the show funded. Also keeping the show funded, other sponsors. I got 3 here I'm giving to you right now. First off, Joe Martinez. Senor Martinez at A&E Heating and Cooling. He uses the Comfort Maker brand air conditioning and heating units. Installs those for you. Comfort with confidence. And the Comfort Maker. If you're looking to get your existing setup tuned up, and I highly recommend that, today is going to be a hot-ass day. It's $89, okay, to get the AC tuned up. Do it. Do not just let that go just because you feel it blowing cold air. That thing might be struggling and using a lot more energy than it needs, which is going to cause you to have a higher bill, okay? You don't want that. It's now just $79 for Zane Show podcast listeners when you mention my name. So call up Senor Martinez at 616-516-8579 for A&E Heating and Cooling. When he showed up to tune up mine, he was just outside of this window, so on the other side of this camera. And I hear him out there, and I hear him. He goes, hey! And he's like a little bit agitated. I go, what? He goes, what is this? And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, you know what this is, don't you? I go, well, yeah, I know what it is. Consumers Energy, which provides the power to the house, they gave me like a reduced rate, and they put on a governor on the setup. So on days where it's super hot and the whole state is using electricity and it puts a stress on the grid, consumers hits a button and they give me a reduced power output, so my AC stops running. It's to ease up on the grid. And they give you a discount for it. So I'm like, yeah, sign me up. You know, if I have to wait and they just do it for like an hour maybe. And your house gets a little bit warm and then they turn it back on. And he goes, Don't forget that this is here, because this thing is the bane of my existence. I have people that forget that they put the damn thing on, and then their AC stops, and then I have to do a service call, and then I say, yeah, it's because you got this dumb governor on, you dumb bastard. And then I charge him for the service call, and I go, well, don't worry about it. I'm all about it. So, and then he looks at me in the eye, and he says,
Tu madre es una puta.
and I'm like, oh, yeah? Well, fuck you. And he says,
Vete a la chingada, cabrón.
and I'm like, all right, yeah, you may tell me to go fuck myself, but you're a stupid bastard. And he says,
Come mis nalgas cuando yo estoy cagando,
and I'm like,
cabrón.
oh, yeah, fuck you. You tell me to eat your ass while I'm shitting. How about this?
Comes chingo de cagada.
There you go. Joe Martinez, the king of forbidden Spanish. I think that's the only one I got down is tu madre es una puta.
Tu madre es una puta.
Es una puta.
Tu madre es una puta.
Tu madre es una puta. If I say it like I'm supposed to, not trying to say, if I say it in Michigan English, it's tu madre es una puta. Don't say that anywhere. Okay? Do not say tu madre es una puta. As we walk around, do not utter out forbidden Spanish. You never know who's going to hear it. That might be a funny bit where we force Pellerita to go out to, like, maybe over to the barrio in that section of West Michigan and yell out, tu madre es una puta, and watch him get his ass kicked. Bad news, Pellerito, one of the first Zaniacs, might be the first Zaniac. He broke his cell phone holder that he clips to his belt. He's one of the only remaining people in the world that does that today. He is saddened and hurt by that. I'm sorry, Mike, for your loss. Stand by. Zaniac Kim Lazara. I don't even know if I can qualify her as a Zaniac yet, but she's turned into a fantastic ally and a big fan of the show. Thank you to Kim. You know about the history of Kim and how she got to be involved with the show. If you don't know, you'll find out one day. I don't want to go down that road right now, but she has a business where she is a distributor of products called made by a company called Zingular. And Zingular is a type of company that's XYN, Zingular, that sells health, wellness, weight loss, energy, immunity boosting products. The type of thing that you're going to get for anybody who's looking to improve their health, their wellness, their beauty, whatever it may be. They have something for everyone, especially people like me trying to lose weight. It gets harder and harder and harder. You might need an extra boost, something on your metabolism. All amazing products, and I want you to go check out their product line. And this is what you do. In the show notes of the podcast, there's a link to Kim's Facebook page, okay? And on ericzaneshow.com, you click right on the lower sponsor scroll where it says Zingular. It's a big X. Click on that. That'll take you right to Kim's page. You can get more information about the products that she sells. All of the questions are answered. And, you know, I'm telling you, this is a fantastic thing. Different packages, different price points, different levels. So check it out right there. More information at Kim's Facebook page, which I have linked up as part of the Eric Zane Show podcast. Last but certainly not least, Mario Flores and the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Getting you into a mortgage at very easily in that process. 231-332-6505. If my son can get into a mortgage, you can get into a mortgage. Reach out to Mario. He'll spell you out the plan. He'll work with you very closely. 231-332-6505. Mario is on a slight bit of probation. He gets so busy sometimes that things fall through the cracks. If you're like, hey, I called that fucker, he hasn't called me back, reach out to me, and I'll light a fire under his ass, and you'll be bumped to the tip-top front of the line. 231-332-6505. Just kidding, Mario. Giving you a hard time, buddy. Get into a mortgage today, and I'm telling you, the best thing about Mario is he might get you someone into a mortgage who's like, I didn't even think I could get into a mortgage. That's the situation my son was in. And, and it doesn't just end there, because after you've worked on that mortgage and paid on it perfectly for a year, year and a half, it's time to get you into an even better mortgage. He does all of that for you. He's in charge of it. He's on top of it. The Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Reach out to me anytime. Eric at ericzaneshow.com. on the Green Clean Technologies inbox. Tim writes this. Emailer Tim. Regarding my report card, Tim, enjoying the podcast live today. How you doing, buddy? He says, Dear Mr. and Mrs. Z, I have some good news and bad news about your son Eric's time at school. The good news is that your son has the perfect face for radio, he adds. The bad news is that because of your son's chronic masturbation and his aptitude to piss people off, he will most likely with you till he's well into his 50s. God bless the whole family and good luck with that hot mess. So he's suggesting that if there were any comments on there, maybe they would say that. About the sushi, Tyler writes, thanks for making me incredibly hungry at work with the sushi talk, dickhead. I might have to make a trip to get some sushi tonight. I don't think I've ever found a food that I devour it. I mean, it's actually scary the how quickly I consume it and how I don't like to talk to anybody while I'm eating it, and I quite literally eat it until it starts to hurt, where I'm just shy when I'm eating it of being somewhat upset stomach. Like, my stomach is like, okay, if you eat any more, I'm going to make you feel nauseous. I don't quite eat till I'm about to puke, but it might be just short of that. Okay. Coronavirus home remedies. This one made the rounds, and boy, absolutely incredible. It was sent to me. The story goes, I ripped it off of Channel 7 in Detroit. A reporter wrote the article after reading results, a report from the CDC that found out that 2 out of 5 Americans are using inappropriately using things to, in their mind, keep them safe from coronavirus, when in fact they probably are making themselves, if not very sick, compromised or feeling terrible for a period of time. And I don't know if this has something to do with leadership when Trump said inject chemicals. Who knows? There's no way to tell. Now, people on the left would like you to believe that, but I don't know. I think that people are just stupid. And by the way, I need to point this out. There is changing information, and this is kind of a bummer because, I spent a lot of time talking about what we had learned from the CDC, and now there's other government organizations that are kind of contradicting what we had known from the CDC. And I don't know. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing, and know that there is some confusing contradictions about how you catch it, the infectiousness if a person does have it. And to go down it right now, I think would just make you even more confused and make myself confused. I think it's just good practice to keep your hands washed, socially distant. I don't know. And definitely don't shake hands. I don't want to shake anybody's hands. Sneeze and cough into your elbow. I think we can just leave it there. But this is ridiculous. According to this study, from this report, 39% of those people surveyed had tried a potentially harmful cleaning practice in the last month. By the way, all the wiping down of your groceries, you don't have to do that. That's it. We didn't have to do it back then. Remember they were saying, "Oh yeah, it can live on hard surfaces for 3 days and cardboard for a day." I mean, I said those words. Now, whether or not that's true, I guess I haven't been told otherwise, but they have said it's extremely unlikely anyone can get sick from touching surfaces like that. And I'm like, well, how exactly have we been getting sick then? Is it through just airborne transmission? Is it through just contacting a person directly? I mean, what's going on here? So 39% of those surveyed had tried potentially harmful cleaning practices in the last month. You won't believe some of these. This person writes, in my opinion, that's way too many folks who think they're making themselves safer, when in reality, these practices really aren't doing much of anything to prevent coronavirus infections. So exactly what did these survey respondents do? 19% of the people surveyed had gotten bleach and put it on their fruits and vegetables. Like wiped the fruits and vegetables down. Now, I don't know if it's straight bleach solution, wiped it down with bleach solution, and then rinsed it. Not a good idea. 18% had used cleaning products on hands or skin. So maybe wiping your hands with bleach, maybe, spraying the Clorox on it, using a Clorox wipe on your hands. I guess that's not a good thing. 10% misted the body with cleaning or disinfectant spray. So, a kid comes home from school and they spray the kid down head to toe. Does nothing, makes you sick. 6% would inhale vapors from household cleaners or disinfectants. So, all right, you got the bleach and just breathing it. And 4% tried drinking or gargling diluted bleach solutions, soapy water, and other cleaning and disinfectant solutions. I mean, first of all, what fucking moron is going to admit this? And if the moron admits that, do they still think that it's okay? And if you do this study and you find out that 4% of people are gargling bleach, isn't it, aren't you supposed to track them down and take them out of the population or at least warn them? My God. What were the health problems that some of these people encountered? About 25% of the respondents said they had at least one harmful health effect. They included nose or sinus irritation, skin irritation, eye irritation, dizziness, lightheadedness or headache, upset stomach or nausea, and breathing problems. The article says now some folks might think that these problems might not sound all that bad, but let me tell you, misuse can cause severe tissue damage and corrosive injury. And ingesting bleach can be quite hazardous to one's health. If there is, seriously, it would make me so sad if I found out that one of you people listening to this show has done even one of these things. It would actually, I don't know what I would do. I might have to ban you from actually listening to the podcast because I don't want anybody listening to the podcast who is that dumb. I take it back. No, I can't be. I have such a small audience as it is. I can't be banning people because they're doing. No, I take that all back. The report says there are, quote, important knowledge gaps in the safe use of cleaners and disinfectants among U.S. adults. That is a very kind way of saying there are dumb shits in the world. They worded it as there are important knowledge gaps in the safe use of cleaners and disinfectants among U.S. adults. No, there are dumb shits. Because if you add up all of these numbers, okay, 19 used bleach on fruits and veggies. 18% more use cleaning products on their hands or skin. That one isn't so bad, but still kind of bad. That's 37% of people. Another 10% misted their body with cleaning or disinfectant spray. That has it up to 47% of the respondents. Another 6 inhaled the vapors. That's 53% of the respondents. And 4% tried drinking or gargling diluted bleach solutions. So that means out of 100 people in a room studied, 57% of those, 57 of the 100 are dumb as fuck. So 100 people, 57 are stupid as shit, and 43 aren't. That's what it breaks down to. My gosh, what have we done to the world? The report says, while there are the important knowledge gaps, as I said, that we really need to talk more about how to safely use cleaners and disinfectants. So then the article goes on and tells you what to do. I mean, seriously, why do we need to have these conversations with people? Always read and follow the label's directions. These people can't read. Wear gloves, eye and skin protection. I'm saying don't do any of these things because the quicker these people are out of the gene pool, the better off the world is going to be. Man. All right. What the hell is defund the police? I started seeing signs that said defund the police and even disband the police. So what is that all about? Does that mean what I think it means? And I don't think it does, because when I see defund the police or disband the police, I think people might be under the impression that you would just take because the city of in Minneapolis, the city council has agreed to, I think it's to defund the police. And I think that that's a part of a big, broad thing. I'm not entirely sure. I'm still getting to my gathering information, but I'm still going to talk about it now. You might be under the impression that they just make it so the community has no police force anymore, and that the idea would be, some people might have the idea that in Minneapolis that there would be no policing. So there would be no traffic stops. There would be no, if there's a domestic issue, the police would not be there to restore the order. If there was a brawl, the police could not help. If there was a murder, there would be no police intervention. Or I guess, I mean, that's what people are thinking. And then the thought is, then you take the money that would have funded the police and you push that instead of to policing to community outreach for black communities. And it does sound a little strange to me because, well, I mean, people pay for social services in their taxes, and they would want police, fire, you know, their things that they pay for in their taxes, their municipalities to be. But people say, no, we've had it. We don't want the police force. Well, this actually has happened once, and I want you to listen to this because I don't think it is exactly what it seems. And because when they say that they disband the police force, the initial impression that I had was there is no more police force. There's a community known as Camden, New Jersey, which is near Philadelphia, and this is a rough place to live. Very, very high crime. And here's what happened in Camden. They disbanded their police department 7 years ago. The article talks about how in Minnesota said that they're considering the fairly rare course of doing that, disbanding the city police department. It's not the first locale to break up a department, but no cities as populous have ever attempted it. The Minneapolis City Council members haven't specified what or who will replace it if the department disbands. By the way, both Trump and Biden say that they do not want this. Both of them. They actually agree on this. Camden has done this years ago. Their city has a population about 17% the size of Minneapolis, dissolved its police department in 2012 and replaced it. So there is a police force there. So that answers one question for me. There is police there. There are policemen and women. They replaced it with an entirely new one after corruption rendered the existing agency unfixable. All right? Before that, they were routinely named one of the most violent cities in the U.S. I lived reasonably close to there for a few years. Now, 7 years after that department was all booted, the city's crime rate has dropped by almost half. Officers host outdoor parties for residents and knock on doors to introduce themselves. It's a radically different Camden than it was even a decade ago, and here's how they did it, according to this article. First of all, it says, why do police departments dissolve the police, or why do departments dissolve police? A city's decision to do this is often a matter of money, and the cities that choose to do so are often quite small. Camden comes closest to Minneapolis in its size. Their crime rate was among the worst in the U.S. with 9 square miles and among nearly 75,000 residents. There were over 170 open-air drug markets reported in 2013. Violent crime was massive. Police corruption at the core. Officers routinely planted evidence on suspects, fabricated reports, and committed perjury. After it was exposed, courts overturned the convictions of 88 people. So it's a mess. So they said, all right, let's wipe the whole damn thing out. And then they started over. City officials had two objectives in remaking Camden's police: reducing the crippling violent crime and making residents feel safer. They said they still have a ways to go, but still, that's been pretty good. Back then, the residents of Camden City absolutely feared the police department and members of the department. They wanted something different. So apparently what they did is they started to do like cops basically are assigned like a beat, and they just walk an area, and that's where they stay. If you are made a cop, let's say you're a rookie cop, the first thing they do is the cop. They made all this very public process, and they had various members of that community create this thing from the ground up. So it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So they work with the community. They're still cops. They're still armed. They're still enforcing the law. But when you rip it down to the studs and remodel it, now you have a police force that's built on community input to serve, and not you've eliminated the problem. So it kind of makes sense if you think about it. But then these cops, when they get new to the force, they introduce themselves to every home that are part of their beat. So the familiar faces are there, and then the outreach starts. It's incredible. The article says it starts from an officer's first day. When a new recruit joins the force, they're required to knock on the doors of homes in the neighborhood that they're assigned. They introduce themselves to ask neighbors, hey, you know, what's been going on? What needs improving? You know, it's almost like like a legislator, how they represent a community. That's what the cop has to do now. Training emphasizes de-escalation, he said, and the department's use of force policy makes clear that deadly force is the last option. Now police host, their jobs entail like hosting a barbecue in the neighborhood. So the cop in policing, it's like today's barbecue day, and he like hauls a roasted pig into the middle of the street, and all the people come out, they sit there, and they have like a friggin' pig roast with the cop. My God. Police host pop-up barbecues. They pull up in Mr. Softy ice cream trucks. So basically, the tactical rolling the tank, the armored vehicle, has been replaced with a Mr. Softy truck. Who knew? They host drive-in movie nights. Recently, the movie choice, The Lion King. They probably got sued by Disney over that. This area of Camden was known as the city's heroin highway. Now, not so much. The Community First Initiative has made improving diversity within the force a priority too. Whites are the minority in Camden. So, the department representative said the new department has hired more black and brown officers to serve black and brown residents. We don't want to make sure residents of the city know these streets. We want to make sure that residents of the city know these streets are theirs, he said. They need to claim these streets as their own, not let drug dealers and criminals claim them. Then the article goes on to talk about what Minneapolis can learn from criticism of Camden. And I'll let you look at this yourself, the rest of it, but I mean, I think that people might be pointing at this community for maybe some type of template. So I wanted to talk about this because the idea isn't so much just we don't have a police force anymore. Those terms disband and defund have a lot to do with a total overhaul, if you will. That's what they did there. So that's what that means. And I just wanted to bring that up because a lot of people hear that and they think, oh no, Flashpoint, I hate you. And you want to disband the police. Hell no. And I think the lack of information, at least in my opinion, might be causing some of you to build up more walls about this concept. I'm not saying that this is the way to go, but I'm saying that there's a lot more to it than just we don't have a police force. Okay, a couple more things got to talk to. Actually, a lot of things I have to talk about in the show still remaining. The food map put out by Barstool Sports is a complete scam. And the guy who runs CrossFit, everybody is trying to cancel this dude. As you know, I have a lot of people are either say yes to cancel culture, or they're either all in or all out. I'm kind of in, kind of out. It depends on the circumstances. I don't know if CrossFit guy deserves the cancel yet. I'll tell you about that in a second. Father's Day is right around the corner. I think the locals here at the Eric Zane Show podcast household are plotting something fun for Father's Day. That's fantastic. I love it. Father's Day is a good one, man. Let's do something fun for Dad. How come? I mean, I had by this point leading up to Mother's Day, I had tons of activity on Cameo for Mother's Day. And and maybe because a lot of the people who were doing stuff for Mother's Day were like, "Oh God, I don't know what to do. I'm not creative. I'm gonna have Zane wish my wife or the mother of my children or my mama a happy Mother's Day." Maybe that's it, because I've gotten really very few, or if not, how many? Yeah, pretty much zero. I've done cameos recently, but I need one about, "Hey, Dad, how are you? And this is Eric Zane, and he's wishing you a happy Father's Day." Either your dad, the father of the kids, your husband, whatever it may be. Cameo.com/Eric Zane. Henry Steffes is going to be joining me in the podcast very soon, giving you an update on market conditions. Had a great idea suggested by Bleeding Heart Brian about getting on the pros of my podcast, my sponsors, to talk about various things. Henry would probably talk about definitely would talk about real estate and the market and the changes going on since the pandemic. Hell, Joe Rogan, if he had Henry Steffes for a client, he probably would do one weekly podcast for about 9 hours with Henry, and then do no other podcast. I do podcasts with my clients all the time. I just don't want to give you that. Hey, here you go. Here's my favorite restaurant podcast. Henry, I want you to reach out to him if you're thinking about listing your home. He's backed by the amazing real estate company, Keller Williams Realty. TheSteffesGroup.com is where you can get more information. Or just call him, 616-293-8298. For Henry Steffes, right there, red rim glasses. He'll go through your house 10, 15 minutes. Then the next thing you know, you're going to get information from him saying, "I think we can list this house for this much." And you're going to be like, "What? That's a hell of a lot more than what I thought." Yeah, I know. I can do it. I can do it. And then let him do his thing, man. Trust me on this. Try Henry out. Henry Steffes, the Steffes Group of Keller Williams Realty. Okay, Blue Frost IT is the managed IT service provider of the Eric Zane Show podcast. BlueFrostIT.com. If you have a small or medium-sized business, you now have a managed IT support team at your disposal. Call them at 616-200-8550 for Blue Frost IT. Online at bluefrostit.com. And, some of these small and medium-sized businesses, they're kind of like walking a tightrope with no net, because if the tech goes south, oh, God, what do, man? You stop working, first of all. You stop making money. And then you got to, where to begin? I guess I open up the phone book and call somebody. No. You have a tech company. It's the one I'm talking about right now, Blue Frost IT. You can deal with them on a monthly basis and have a subscription set up for their expertise, where they monthly make sure that you are running in tip-top shape, or if they can do an hourly rate fix for your setup. Reach out, 616-200-8550. More. Shoreliners. What do shoreliners do? They stripe parking lot. Not a parking lot. They stripe parking lots is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. You can tell my brain is going 10 different directions. Shorelinersstriping.com. 616-516-1985. They stripe parking lots. They stripe workplaces. Like, you work here. COVID protection area, stuff like that. Signage, post installation, and you can even find out about them painting your athletic field. Shoreliner Striping, 616-536-1985. And last but certainly not least, keeping your home clean at A&D Cleaning, 616-550-3644. Reach out to Amy Porter today. Get that home clean. Get an estimate by reaching out to her in West Michigan at 616-550-3644. All right. This came across my desk. It is a informational map of the United States, kind of a fun thing, and Barstool put it out. And it says, all right, here's the United States. And every single state, we have surveyed this, has a favorite chain restaurant. Well, you know you're completely rolling in money when your articles are absolute bullshit, just intended to piss people off and draw attention to yourselves. It sounds about right for Dave Portnoy, who is probably one of the biggest troublemakers that is walking the earth today. I love the fact that he does this shit. It's pretty funny. I love all the tweaks at Roger Goodell. But this kind of had everybody scratching their head as to what's going on. It turned out to be a complete scam. The headline from Distractify.com, it says, did that Barstool map infuriate you as well? And the reason why it was driving people crazy is because on each state, you have a logo for a favorite restaurant for that state. Like, for example, Montana has the Golden Arches on it. In-N-Out Burger is on Nevada and Arizona, Washington, and Oregon. Denny's is on the state of California. Now, if I were to see that, I would be like, oh, I don't, that doesn't, all right, I guess so. How would I know? Einstein Bagels is the favorite chain of Idaho. There's no one in the world that says there's no Einstein Bagels. And give me one person that goes, man, my favorite place to eat is Einstein Bagels. That doesn't happen. Tim Hortons, maybe. Taco Bell, I could see that. Here's the thing that really caught everybody off guard. Chuck E. Cheese is the favorite place to eat in Minnesota. I think that's, what state is that? Maybe Nebraska. I don't even know where that is. I can't tell if that's Nebraska. I don't know the shape of that state. I don't know. My geography is so poor. It says that Illinois' favorite place to eat is Chuck E. Cheese. Now, no one likes to eat at Chuck E. Cheese, okay? No one likes to go to Chuck E. Cheese. The fact that you would go in there and eat the shit pizza coated with sneeze and kid booger. There's no one that says, man, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm going out to eat. Where are you going? My favorite place to eat, Chuck E. Cheese. I can buy Chick-fil-A in the South. I can buy KFC in the South. I can't buy Dave & Buster's in Florida. No one knows anything on a menu at Dave & Buster's. Bojangles, you don't see that often. According to this map, is the top place to eat in North Carolina. By the way, it's great. I love Bojangles. Let's see. Subway on, looks like Pennsylvania. In Michigan, it's a logo I've never seen before. It's Jollibee or Hollabee. And I'm like, wait, I've lived here most of my life. I've never seen a Jollibee restaurant. I don't even know what that is. And I searched it out. The one closest to the state of, there isn't any in Michigan. So what the fuck? The one closest to Michigan is Chicago. And they've got other ones in Toronto. In the New England states, there's a couple where it's Dunkin' Donuts. I can buy that. Olive Garden in New Jersey. Nobody in New Jersey eats at Olive Garden. In New Jersey, they go to neighborhood Italian restaurants. There's about 1 million of them. Usually they're in a strip mall. And you go in there in New Jersey. Did you know this? Maybe it's been a long time since I lived in New Jersey. But in New Jersey, a lot of these Italian restaurants, they don't have a liquor license. That's expensive. And they're all usually mom and pop places that run these Italian restaurants. So what you do is, when you go into the Italian restaurant, and this is why no one wants to go to Olive Garden in New Jersey because you can do this. What you do is you bring your own wine. This is true. And you walk into the Italian restaurant, and they set up an ice bucket, and you put your own wine in there, and you drink your own wine in the restaurant while you're eating whatever it is you order. Authentic Italian food. The map is all bullshit. And this is another example why you can't believe everything on the internet. And it says, if you see something trending from Barstool Sports, always do your research before taking it as fact, because those folks love to stir up controversy. The map of the U.S.'s favorite restaurants took the internet by storm the other day, with information being pulled from the Public Information and Statistics Society. And you click on it, and it's like a fake site, you know? And to say it angered a few people would be a gross understatement. Is the information accurate? They wrote, guys, to think that Denny's would be California's favorite restaurant is laughable. And by the way, the In-N-Outs don't even exist in Washington or Iowa. And what the heck is Jollibee? Michigan residents sure as hell don't know. And Barstool tweeted it out. America's favorite food chain. What a bunch of dicks. No, the map is definitely not real. The name of the place that the, quote, statistics that made up the map come from is a big tip. The map was made by 2020 information from the Public Information and Statistics Society, which does not exist because it was made up by Barstool, and the acronym spells piss. How dumb. Hey, where are you going to go for lunch? Bro, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. They have the best food, said no one ever. My God. Well done, Barstool, you idiots. It must be great when you got so much money when you can go ahead and just get behind a tweet that's completely made up. All right. Meanwhile, this whole CrossFit thing kind of blew up, and this is a perfect example of I'm a little lean on stories today because I was like, God, I don't know if I even want to talk about this because it just seems like it's bullshit. CrossFit had a deal with Reebok. Reebok canceled the deal with CrossFit. And now all the gyms that are CrossFit gyms are actually no longer putting, like, CrossFit. Like, there's CrossFit gyms around here. And CrossFit is a brand, which I didn't really know that. I just thought it was like a training style. But no, it's a brand. There's a guy who created CrossFit. And the founder of it is a guy by the name of Greg Glassman. And according to this article, everybody's said this is a racist thing. And I don't know. I want you to be the judge. I'm kind of, I guess so, but all right. Here's what happened. Reebok and gyms across the country have announced that they're ending their partnership with CrossFit. This is like really, really bad. After the company's silence on police brutality and founder Greg Glassman's racist tweets, according to the article, about George Floyd's death. I'll let you be the judge of this. But first of all, I want to pause there. If I never addressed the Floyd saga, because there was one day that I actually said, this is how I feel, I was outraged. And so I felt like I wanted to talk about it, and I have talked about it quite a bit. This is how I feel, the saga of me and the Kaepernick thing, and just talking to you, which is what I do. If I, for some reason, didn't, let's say I talked about everything but, which would be crazy to me, but if I didn't, would you say you are a racist and you need to be canceled? What would you do? What is that? What are the optics of a person who doesn't want to address this, in your opinion? Considering that it is, in my opinion, top 3 news stories of the last 30 years. Outside of, you have 9/11, pandemic, George Floyd. 3 biggest. Not even close. Nothing else comes close. If I ignored that story, would that be a glaring tell? Can you reach out to me, Eric at ericzaincho.com? I'd like to know what you think about that as I continue the podcast, so I can come back to that. Well, CrossFit didn't say shit about it. They didn't make a statement. Well, time out. There is a difference. If I say it, I talk about current events. CrossFit does not. CrossFit is CrossFit. So I don't know if it's necessarily a fair comparison to talk about it in that light. But would you think that if you were if you were involved in CrossFit and the guy who runs CrossFit didn't say anything, would you have a problem with that if he didn't say anything? You know what I mean? Our partnership with CrossFit HQ comes to an end later this year, Reebok said. Recently, we've been in discussions regarding a new agreement. However, in light of recent events, we have made the decision to end our partnership with CrossFit HQ, a spokesperson for Reebok said in a statement. We will fulfill our remaining contractual obligations in 2020. We owe this to the CrossFit Games competitors, fans, and the community. What doesn't change is our commitment and dedication to CrossFitters and the passionate CrossFit community. I'll tell you this, side note, I think that people who do CrossFit are the fittest. They make triathlon Ironman people look like pussies. It is the ultimate combination of heart, lung strength. It's dexterity, agility, mobility. It's all there. Flexibility. Oh, my God. Oh, the strength of these people. I love watching the CrossFit Games. That's like a fucking must-watch thing for me. I love the CrossFit Games. This announcement came after Glassman tweeted at the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation on Saturday, responding to a statement that, quote, racism and discrimination are critical public health issues that demand an urgent response. So the dude who runs CrossFit, Greg Glassman, he hadn't spoken about Floyd. So I think maybe some people were like wanting him to, or maybe they were like, wait, hey, how come you haven't said anything about this? Which, all right, I guess. This organization, Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation, made the tweet, racism and discrimination are critical public health issues and demand an urgent response. All right. Glassman responded with, it's Floyd-19. So you can picture COVID-19, all caps, COVID. He wrote, it's Floyd, all caps, 19. So the idea, that is a glib response, and I don't think that George Floyd's death is anything that could have any type of, silliness or snark associated with it. I think that's a bad look, but I don't know if that means it's racist. It's definitely in poor taste to say it's Floyd 19, and I make poor taste jokes all the damn time about stupid shit. That's what I do, and but I don't know if that's racist, but there's definitely probably a lot of people go, oh man, I wouldn't do that. All right, so he says it's Floyd 19, meaning but I don't know what that means in his world. I'm not sure what that is. I think it gets worse for this guy. He might just be saying that, he could be saying that racism is a pandemic. His death, it has a pandemic effect on the world. I guess you could look at it that way. But he kind of doubled down. This is where it gets a little bit more weird. In another reply to the tweet, Greg Glassman, the CrossFit dude, told that same institute, quote, your failed model quarantined us, and now you're going to model a solution to racism? George Floyd's brutal murder sparked riots nationally. Quarantine alone is accompanied in every age and under all political regimes by an undercurrent of suspicion, distrust, and riots. Thanks. Honestly, I'm not exactly sure what he's trying to achieve there. It all seems a little clumsy to me. I don't think I'm smart enough to be able to even remotely try to figure out what the fuck he's trying to achieve with that. Those tweets, though, sparked backlash against the company's CEO from athletes and gym owners and social media. And so that's it. That's what he did. And they are throwing the book at him right now. And maybe I'm not smart enough to figure out what the fuck he's trying to say there. But maybe callous, maybe terrible timing, and maybe callousness, snarkiness, terrible timing, his silence, and a very sensitive public. Maybe overly woke is creating this now cancel against CrossFit. I mean, it's going down. They're canceling his ass. Reebok's out. That's huge. All these gyms are saying we're no longer a CrossFit gym, which, if I ran a gym and it was a CrossFit gym, fuck, I wouldn't be paying the franchise fee anyway. I'd just be saying Eric's Gym and just do the workouts. What the fuck? You're going to shut me down? All right. So as all of this happened, CrossFit posted a statement on behalf of Glassman. The company did not immediately respond to BuzzFeed, who's writing this article that I'm reading. They wrote, I, CrossFit HQ, and the CrossFit community will not stand for racism. I made a mistake by the words I chose yesterday. My heart is deeply saddened by the pain it has caused. It was a mistake. Not racist, but a mistake. Fuck, I don't even know what the fuck you were saying. His initial tweets also came after an affiliate gym owner from Seattle, Alyssa Royce, wrote a blog. Okay, this is where it got a little weird. Initial tweets also came after an affiliate gym owner from Seattle, Alyssa Royce, wrote a blog post calling on the company to address police brutality and protests. This gym owner, Alyssa Royce, was pissed off that CrossFit hadn't said anything yet. Which again, I don't know if you can. Because I use Dawn dish detergent doesn't mean that I have to go up to the guy who runs Dawn dish detergent and say, you must say something about racism. I don't think every single company in America is obligated to say something about race at this time. Why? Why make this? I mean, unless you either want to just make yourself, jump on board because you want yourself to look good, or you're doing it just to avoid the backlash. Those are the two wrong reasons for doing this. You only address this if you feel like it's burning on your brain and your heart and you want to say it and you want to express yourself. You shouldn't do it just because the world's telling you to do it, She got pissed off and said that CrossFit needs to address police brutality and protests that have been happening across the country. In her post, Royce shared a note she had sent to CrossFit HQ detailing why her gym would not be renewing its affiliate membership when the contract ended. This is before all the tweets hit. She said to CrossFit, I'm being clear here, your silence is, all caps, taking a stand. You are standing in silence on the side of history, and Brady, that's her partner, and I cannot stand on, Royce wrote. Even taking a small step to the right side of history is better than haphazardly napping on the wrong side of history. So she's basically calling out the franchise because they're not saying what everyone else is saying. All right. And then so Glassman replied to that gym owner. And Glassman disputed that it was the brand's He disputed that it was the brand's responsibility to address the protests or his death. And this is what happened. He shouldn't have said this because this got it all fucked up in the first place. It added fuel to the fire. See, this guy's kind of a dumbass because he pulls the old Eric Zane and gets butthurt when people do shit like this. He wrote, I sincerely believe that quarantine has adversely impacted your mental health. Had he just said, maybe was a little bit more sensitive to her, he wouldn't have had this problem. You're doing your best, but he doesn't like taking shit either. You're doing your best to brand us as a racist, and you know this is bullshit. That makes you a really shitty person. Do you understand that? You've let your politics warp you into something that strikes me as wrong to the point of being evil. I am ashamed of you, he added. The gym owner, Royce, told BuzzFeed News she wasn't expecting Glassman's response. You were expecting nothing? You accused the guy of being a racist. I mean, I would probably be pretty pissed off, too, if you... I'd have been pretty pissed off, too, if somebody fired a pepperoni pizza at me. What happened there? So, she calls the guy a racist. He responds in kind. And then she runs and says, look, he's a racist. And then he, it lines up with those tweets. So now the whole world is canceling CrossFit. I don't know about this one. Royce said, I sent that note because I assumed that you cared. I thought that they cared. And I also say, hey, as a brand, you are headed for some trouble in this situation, and you might want to take heed so things don't explode. See, I think that's bullshit. You shouldn't be held hostage. A brand should not be held hostage. And you either say something that you're with us or we're going to cancel you. That's not fair. It's CrossFit, okay? People speak out about it because they want to speak out about it. You can't, just because a person's silent, I don't think that necessarily means anything. You can't assume anything. And you definitely can't indict someone and lump them in with racists because they didn't say anything. That's bullshit. I actually kind of feel that me being that I talk about everything, if I didn't talk about Floyd, I would absolutely understand if you thought I was a racist. But not a CrossFit gym. Who gives a fuck? Royce said she's now received hundreds of messages from CrossFitters and affiliate owners who have said that they're distancing themselves from the brand. Oh, my God. She says this has been shocking, amazing, and beautiful. You think it's beautiful that this guy, what he created from the ground up, is being destroyed? So, yeah, I don't know. That seems pretty fucked up. I think the tweets at best are insensitive and glib, but I don't think what he said is racist, and I don't think him being silent about this is racist. That's my opinion. So now watch. Oh, no, I'm going to get canceled, right? I don't think so. This has been shocking, amazing, and beautiful, she wrote. I think at the core, many of us who own CrossFit gyms got into it because we truly want to help people. I believe that. And it was a real slap in the face to see the person at the helm of this would treat an affiliate that way. Well, you called him a racist, you crazy bitch. What the fuck, man? If someone called me a racist, I'd tell him to fuck off. You're lucky he didn't tell you that. He was offended that you went out of your way to indict him like that. And then you conveniently took the tweets about him being what I just said he was doing, and now you've manufactured this whole ball of outrage, and that's bullshit. Royce said, who would say those things to someone? Well, I would. You call me a fucking racist, I want to fucking punch your face. It just flies in the face of all of us who believe in human decency and compassion and supporting each other. It was a cognitive dissonance that was just too much. Yeah, you're full of shit. You come at me with an attack on my race, saying that I'm a racist, you better be damn sure I'm going to fucking fight you tooth and nail and not take your shit like that. Fuck you. And this guy probably works hard to not be a racist. Is he an asshole for his tweets? Maybe. But I don't know. Maybe I'm on the wrong side of this. Maybe somebody can explain this to me so that, and then I can maybe see it from a different point of view. But according to BuzzFeed is always very left-leaning. These are their facts. This is what they say is going on. And I think this is being a little overly woke on the whole thing. As always, reach out via the Green Clean Technologies inbox. I'd love to hear from you, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. Let's see. I want to make sure that some of these emails that I'd like to get to live aren't from people who want to be anonymous. So I kind of have to pre-read them. This person writes, the whole thing where if you don't speak up, you're immediately to be recognized as a racist is bullshit. I agree with you. If a company stays silent, this person writes, I am fine with that as long as they're consistent with staying the hell out of politics. All right. Frankly, I'm tired of the unspoken requirement to declare racism bad. No shit? Really? There you go. Thank you to that person for reaching out. This person writes, silence equals guilty of racism as the subject. Person writes, I completely agree with you. A company, and I'm keeping these anonymous, just erring on the side of caution, because I don't want any of these individuals at any one point having to deal within their own environments nonsense like this. I completely agree with you, Zane. A company should not have to release a statement just because the mob says they have to agree with what the mob says. However, it does depend on what industry your company is in. You being a talk show that talks about current events would absolutely have to say something, and I talked about that. So yeah, that makes sense. However, CrossFit should not have to comment. It's exercise for the love of God. Thank you. This person writes, if you hadn't talked about Floyd's death protesting, I would be surprised, as it is such a huge story, but wouldn't think you were a racist. As far as businesses such as CrossFit places, I don't care. I wouldn't expect other businesses to come out and release a statement regarding these events. And in fact, it kind of annoys me when they do. I agree with you. You ever see the people that we at so-and-so product placement here stand with you. They're fucking, that's advertising. That's bullshit. That should be you should get backlash for trying to, position yourself in these times of need. So-and-so lawn care says we're with you, I don't follow social media pages of restaurants or other retailers for their takes on current events. I follow them for information regarding their specific services like the fucking menu. It's wrong to assume that anyone is a racist because they haven't said anything when it's not really their place to broadcast their opinions. I think we got some wise souls that are listening to the Eric St. Show podcast today. Finally, Zane, we're all on the same page. You're not required to get behind a movement as an individual or corporation. Cancel culture needs to disappear, and the only way that will happen is if someone finally stands up and tells them to fuck off. I guarantee someone will pick them up. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that. I do agree. You know what I really like is I like the cancel culture when people do stupid culture at its finest. I love that. I love Central Park Karen, who makes a black man feel like shit and says black man's attacking me. I love the fact that her life is over. Fuck that bitch. How about that fucking asshole on the bike? I'm excited that he got an early retirement. Thumbs up to that. Fuck him. Fuck her. Assholes. Phoenix Karen got the shit smacked out of her. I hope she gets canceled too. Whenever these assholes act like assholes and they deserve it, fuck them. But CrossFit Gym, no way. Fuck that. I'm going to go sign up today for CrossFit just because of it. All right. Got more heavy-duty shit to talk about in the country of New Zealand. Man, they eradicated coronavirus. How do they do this? No one knows. And I hate it. I hate this. I hate that it has to come back, but terrible. Oh, no. Now listen to me. I want you to know I did restart the router as normal. I'm hoping I'm still there online. I just got a warning that said you might not still be there. Maybe I'm there, but I'm all chirpy. Oh, I'm still there. Okay. I swear I did all of the things I was supposed to do today. I restarted the router. I made sure the fan was on so my sweet neighbor can't hear me swearing like an idiot. Bleeding Heart Brian actually sent me an email saying, dude, you make sure you do these things today. And he actually sent it along. I've had audience members that are reaching out to me and saying, dude, seriously, you got to make sure that you have all these things taken care of. One more thing before I get to this next bit of No, I can't do it. I don't have it in front of me. I'm biting off more than I chew. There's no way I can get to it. Staff of one on display. I do the Patreon podcast. What is that? Well, it's more podcasting. You know, I mean, I sit here for about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, every day in the free podcast, having so much fun with you that requires more podcasting. Most people listen to the podcast. They listen to the whole damn thing. If that ain't enough for you, well, I got the Patreon. And that's more podcasting. There's no ads in it. And it's funded by the audience at $5 or $10 a month. And truth be told, I really need you to sign up for it. If you are a fan of the free podcast, would you do me this solid and sign up for my Patreon? You're going to love it. I give you 5 more podcasts every week. We got the live streams. We got Fear Bunker Trivia. You can win cash. You can play Dale and Trivia. You can do Dear Meathead Zoom with my dad. There's a lot there. If you sign up for $10 a month, I'll buy you a T-shirt. So there's a lot there. So this is a hard sell for my Patreon. If you love to support the Eric Zane Show podcast and you want me to keep doing the podcast as a full-time job, please sign up for my Patreon. Okay? I would love that. $5 or $10 a month. If you can tell that I'm working to give you content and strong opinions and viewpoints and hilarity from my personal life and nonsense and talking about my wife trying to chase me around the house so she can sit on my face. Holy shit, that it's got to have $5 a month or $10 a month written all over it. Do me that solid. Engage me for a little while on Patreon. Thank you. That's probably the hardest sell I've ever done of Patreon. Sarah Honda Granville is where I want you to buy a car. If you're in West Michigan, they're on the corner of Kennewa and 44th Street. You can get more information at sarahhondagranville.com. It's Honda. Some of the best cars ever made. You get a Honda, and then you have it for like 20 years, okay? Of all the cars you can buy, the resale value through the roof on a Honda. If you ever want to get a minivan, man, holy cow. The Honda Odyssey, to me, is the Cadillac of minivans. I've had 2 of those over the years, and it's just a glorious thing. We loved our Odysseys. Well, we've been downsizing over the years, you know. But, man, when we had the kids, when they were small, traveling in that thing made, life a lot easier. Kids can each watch videos. They got the headphones, you know. They got their own place to watch. It's all built into the car. The key is there's so much shit on the car that it makes it so the kids shut up. If the quietest part of their house is the car, it's a good thing, okay? That makes travel silent. And that's what any parent wants. Get those kids to shut up, to give you a reprieve, to recharge the batteries. You get that in a Honda Odyssey. The Pilot, oh, my God, great car. The Civic, CRV, amazing. Terrific vehicles. Get yourself a Honda. More information at sarahhondagranville.com. He sent me a text, and I can't look at it right now because I'll screw up my phone. I think. I might be able to look at it. About when the next class is. Oh, yes, I got it right here. The next class that retired U.S. Army Major Steve Prince is going to be teaching for CPL certification is a Saturday. It's June 27th. You've got time to sign up. You can call Steve right now, okay, at 616-204-1705. Reach out to retired U.S. Army Major Steve Prince. If you've always wanted to get one day of classwork, Saturday, with Steve, you're going to make friends in the classroom, men and women getting their CPL certification. You're going to you're going to watch a video. There's going to be Q&A. There's going to be discussion. There's going to be a test, which you will pass. There's going to be range time where you shoot a gun. You don't have to own a gun to even take the class. You can borrow one of Steve's. And all you need is yourself and $125. Okay? Get to his page in the comments of the podcast, the audio podcast, and or on my website, ericzaneshow.com. Click on the Prince Army logo and sign up for Steve's class. The class, like I said, is $125. It's in the West Michigan community, obviously, so it is geographically sensitive. Once you pass the class, you take that beautiful piece of paper that he signs over as a certified trainer, and you take it to your county. It's going to be a guy at the county office. They're going to take your fingerprints. You're going to consent to a background check. You give them $110. You say, see you later. 2 months later, unannounced, you get a letter. Say, congratulations, here's your license. And your pistol license is there. You put it in your wallet. Then you're packing heat everywhere you go. That way you're not a victim. Did you hear me? I almost have a stroke there. You're not a victim. You're a freaking sheepdog. Get your pistol license. By the way, thanks again to my friends at Franco's Pizza for giving me the T-shirt. They're selling the place. Can you believe that? I can't believe it, actually. Eric and Marin, you didn't even own it for that long. What are you doing? You can't get out of the business, but they're selling the damn thing. If you want to buy a pizza place, reach out to me, Eric at ericzaneshow.com, and you can buy the Franco's name and the ovens and the location. They've been open since 1975, and there you go. There'll be a new owner there at Franco's. I'm going to try to get him to advertise. All right, finally. Oh, no, I don't have to do this one anymore. Riverbend Body Shop said, nope, we're taking a break. All right, so that's that. I'm bummed about that. They're like, yeah, business been a little slow with the pandemic. We're kind of backing off for a little bit. I said, don't worry, I'll call back. I'll call back in a few months. So one last time, if you crack up your car, take it over to Riverbend Body Shop. And mention me. If you keep mentioning me, they'll be back. So if you do happen to go there, mention me. And then they'll know, hey, we got to get back on Zane Show. Okay. Yeah, I try to make these discussions as compelling, to the point, and I don't mince words. I like to make this a strong suit. If I think something's bullshit, I say something's bullshit, and that's where I stand. Now, if that is at any point interesting or fun, great. So, I don't know if this is necessarily going to be fun, but I have a very strong opinion about this. No matter what any of you tell me, some of you people that may have just sent me emails about the last topic may send me a follow-up email and say, though I agree with you on that one, I don't agree with you on this one. And I, for the life of me, cannot figure out what the fuck is wrong with you when you don't understand what is going on here. Richmond, Virginia. We're talking about like the county seat of the Confederacy when it comes to the Civil War. You know, that war where the South said, we want to be able to enslave black people. And the North said, we don't want you to do that anymore. And the South said, well, fuck you. We're going to form our own country then, and we're going to kill you because we want to be able to enslave the blacks. And the North said, well, fuck you. We're going to kick your ass, and we're going to make you do it. And then we're going to rub your nose in shit when you're all said and done. And the South said, all right, fuck you. Here we go. And there you have it. Massive amount of death, destruction over slavery. Now, that's it in a nutshell. That's my moron's version of the Civil War, but basically, we would have to agree that that was the basis for it. Now, the guy who led the Confederacy was Robert E. Lee. He was the general, okay? You know, the one who was in charge of the Confederacy, in charge of all of this shit, and as time passed, for some reason, as the states were rejoined after the Civil War, the leftovers continued to permeate. So then you fast forward to ending slavery, and then racism in the South, the Klan. There's a timeline of it, and it all has to do with this, and that's what pisses me off so much about like the Confederate flag. That's why I understand when people say the fucking car called the General Lee is a problem. And whether I know I'm pissing people off with this, but it is a problem, okay? It would be like if you had a car, a badass fucking Mustang, and you called it the Adolf Hitler. Hey, man, I mean, if I'm the Dukes of Hazzard, they would say, yeah, here's the General Lee. And, no, fuck it. We got another car called the Mussolini or the Adolf Hitler with a fucking Nazi swastika. It's as bad as that. If you don't agree with me, fuck off. There's no way that any of you should be saying that the General Lee car, the Confederate flag, and for damn sure a statue of this piece of shit, sick, twisted general should be on display anywhere, period. Okay? I don't care if there was a TV show. We're smarter now than we were then. So get rid of that shit. We live in 2020. I don't live in 1983 with Bo and Luke getting chased by Boss Hogg and Roscoe, and Bo and Luke shooting an arrow with dynamite on it to take out the bridge. I mean, come on. Screw the car, screw the show, screw anything with the Confederate flag on it. Fuck off. You like the flag, you have the flag, you're a racist. End of story. Sorry, I call them like I see them. No bullshit here. That's it. The worst, though, out of all of this is the statue of the scumbag, racist General Robert E. Lee. Why we are still looking at statues of Confederate generals in 2020 is a mystery to me. I just saw in Louisville, Kentucky, they were moving a statue of Lee. And, I need to be perfectly clear here. I wouldn't care if they blew it up, frankly. But if you took the damn statue and put it in a museum as part of this is where America was, this is representative of the Confederacy, that shitty period of time where stupid people believe that slaves should be the way of life, okay? I'm okay with it being in a museum of, like, you could call it here's the Museum of Racism, a Museum of Shithead Confederate States and all that. Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. Okay? I mean, there are the same way that if you go to any you're looking at history and other of the European countries where Nazi Germany tried to take a foothold and you see the remnants of World War II. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Okay, I can understand that. But if you drive into Richmond, Virginia, you will see a 30-foot tall statue of Robert E. Lee on a horse. And the governor of Virginia, Governor Northam, said, all right, I've had it with this thing. Get this thing out of here. This has gone on way too long. Destroy this. By the way, you can email me, eric@ericzaneshow.com. If I've upset you, I will read your email on the podcast to talk about your dumb point of view about this. I will give you that forum. Please. Or maybe you agree with me. I don't know. But I have a feeling some of you do not agree with me, and I want to throat punch you. I love you, but you need to get throat punched. So finally, it's about to go down. The Northam is like, all right, get this stupid thing out of here, man. It's the perfect time. Everybody's pissed off about Floyd. Now we got to really get rid of this statue. It's huge. Of this racist. Why is it even there in the first place? How is it that in this day and age, they changed the paint scheme of the Dukes of Hazzard car before they ripped down the fucking statue? Now that's fucked. A judge has issued an order halting the Lee statue removal for 10 days. What is going on here? What happened? The temporary injunction order issued Monday says the state is a party to a deed recorded in March of 1890, in which it accepted the statue, pedestal, and ground they sit on, and agreed to faithfully guard and affectionately protect them. So the deed says from March of 1890 that we got to protect this. So some racist asshole back then made it such, and some dickhead said, hey, judge, what about this? And the judge said, shit, don't make me do this. And then the dick said, no, you got to. Some racist asshole said, look, judge, says it right here. And the judge has to all right, by the letter of the law, hereby 10 days, whatever. The lawsuit was filed by some dick named Bill Gregory, who is described in the complaint as a descendant of the 2 signatories to the deed. Who are those people? Doesn't say right now. Named as defendants are the governor and the director of the Department of General Services, an agency that wants a stupid statue down. Gregory's family's taken pride for 130 years in the statue resting upon land belonging to his family and transferred to the Commonwealth in consideration of the Commonwealth contractually guaranteeing to perpetually care for and protect the Lee Monument, the lawsuit says. What it should say is, Gregory's family is a bunch of inbred, moonshine-drinking butt-fucks who hate black people and would love nothing more than to see black people be eradicated from the face of the earth. Thus, we will care for the statue of our ancestor who was a total racist asshole. That's what it should say. God, I'm touching my nose so much. You people must think I do coke. Northam's governor spokeswoman said the governor's administration is still reviewing the order. Northam remains committed to getting rid of this piece of shit statue. Doesn't say that. Northam did it. It was kind of like, last week is a perfect time to take this thing down. And, that's you should have taken it down before, Northam. That's a little bit of grandstanding on your part, taking it down in the midst of this catastrophe and with race in the country. It should have been down a long time ago. So quit being a cock and get it down 1 year ago. Let's see. Does it say anything else about the people that are... Authorities have been removing other symbols since the protests erupted 2 weeks ago, including a massive obelisk in Birmingham, Alabama. I've seen that thing. Bronze likeness of Admiral Raphael Semmes that stood in the middle of a downtown street in Mobile, Alabama, waterfront for 120 years. In Fredericksburg, Virginia, 176-year-old... Whoa! In Fredericksburg, Virginia, a 176-year-old slave auction block was removed from the city's downtown. It was there? And the United Daughters of the Confederacy removed its statue from Old Town Alexandria. Dude, I can see this shit being in a museum, but nobody wants to be walking around and seeing this shit. I mean, come on. The thing is about the slave auction block, that is quite a thing because of the, I guess it's all context. You look at where these poor people had to stand. I mean, that I can actually understand more than I could the statue of Lee, because Lee, it seems like it's like, hey, this is him, and it's too glorifying, and to me it emboldens the fucking racist scumbags that don't want it torn down. And make no mistake, if you're any person who disagrees with this, you're gonna have to work to get off of me thinking that you're somewhat racist about this, okay? Let's see. Nick writes, Governor Blackface is bitching about racism, you lemming. That is true. Northam years ago was in blackface. So that is pretty bad, but that doesn't make me a lemming. I've always felt this way, you dumbass. Nick says also, there's no wrong side that we as individuals have our right to our opinions. If you want to be racist, be racist. It's a free country as long as your racism causes no physical or financial harm. What about emotional harm? What about the fact that these people are walking around looking at a fucking statue of a racist? That's a thing. I don't want to live in a community that has that shit. Rip that shit down. Has no financial harm to others. Cancel culture doesn't work by corporations canceling other corporations. It works by corporations. It works by the people voting with their wallet. All right. So that's that. That's how I feel about that. Cancel that stupid statue. All right, real quick. New Zealand has eradicated the coronavirus. How? What the hell is going on there? That is true. There is no more coronavirus in New Zealand. Listen to this.
Well, New Zealand is reporting 0 active coronavirus cases for the first time since late February. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said she was confident New Zealand has stopped the spread of the COVID-19 after the last known infected person in the country recovered. New Zealand has been praised for its early action and strict measures, but she warned that the elimination of the virus is a sustained effort.
We will almost certainly see cases here again. And that is not a sign that we have failed. It is a reality of this virus. But if and when that occurs, we have to make sure, and we are, that we are prepared.
Ooh, that is an awful sounding accent. I was always charmed by people in that part of the world, but that one is bad because she sounds like she's speaking perfect English, and then all of a sudden words like prepared come out as prepared, which made me just sick to my stomach. I've got more podcasting on the Patreon. I'm going to get to a little bit later on. My gosh, once again, your participation is warranted. I want you there on Patreon. I'll be publishing this podcast, the audio podcast, on demand at all the podcasting spots, Apple Podcasts, on my website, Spotify, you name it, they're all there. Throw me a review. Subscribe, rate, and review. That makes it so happy. And as always, if you have a business you want to be talked about on the podcast, reach out to me, Eric at ericzaneshow.com. I can put you in a terrific marketing plan. It's not going to cost you nearly as much as something like on radio. And for God's sake, if you're bored, turn off the radio. My God. It's actually getting worse. Horrible. Thanks again, folks. We'll talk to you down the road. Bye-bye.